There are two stones at this tomb. One of them is covered, top to bottom, in praise. Titles, victories, a record built to last 10,000 years. The other belongs to the ruler who did more than the man beside her, and it says nothing. No name, no reign, no list of what she built. For 13 centuries, historians have argued about why. Because the woman under that blank stone was the only person ever to rule China as emperor. Not empress, emperor. This happens at the height of the Tang Dynasty. Chang'an is the largest city on earth, over 1 million people inside its walls. Merchants arrive from Persia, from Rome. Poets are celebrated the way generals used to be. The examination system is producing a new class of officials. By nearly every measure, this is a golden age. Confucian scholars hold the intellectual life of the empire in a tight grip. Every rule about virtue, duty, and correct behavior comes filtered through their interpretation. And their interpretation has no room for a woman on the throne. Underneath all that splendor sits a simple rule for women. Obey your father. Obey your husband. Obey your son. Say nothing. Hope quietly to be noticed. Wu's father was a timber merchant who married into a lesser noble family. Unusually, he taught his daughter to read and form opinions. That was not normal for her world. He died before she turned 13, leaving her without the protection a father's rank usually bought a daughter inside the palace system. She entered it more exposed than most. In 637, that girl enters the palace at 13. She is given the 5th rank, Chiron, Lady of Talent, near the bottom of a hierarchy built to keep her invisible. Above her sit dozens of higher consorts, each with staff, salary, and standing. Below her sit hundreds more with nothing at all. She is neither important nor safe. She spends 12 years like that. 12 years, and Emperor Taizong, one of the most celebrated rulers in Chinese history, never once promotes her. Not because she failed, because he never really looked, but somebody else did. The emperor's own son, Li Ji, crosses paths with her somewhere in those quiet years. In 649, Taizong dies. The rule for what happens next is absolute. Every concubine has her head shaved and is sent to a convent, regardless of rank. Wu is 24. By the law of her world, her story is already finished. Except it wasn't. Li Zhi becomes Emperor Gaozong, and he remembers her. According to the record, Gaozong visited the convent during a memorial ceremony for his father and saw her there. Whatever passed between them that day was enough to set everything else in motion. He brings her back, quietly at first, a private visit, a gift sent, a door left open. Then, within the year, not quietly at all. Inside the palace, Gaozong already has an empress, Lady Wang, and a favored consort, Lady Xiao. The two hate each other. Both decide Wu is a useful ally. At first, Lady Wang even helps bring Wu back, hoping a new rival will pull Gaozong's attention away from Xiao. It is the first mistake either woman makes. Here is where the story stops being simple. Later, historians accused Wu of killing her own infant daughter, to have Lady Wang blamed for it. No account from anyone actually present records this. It surfaces decades later from writers with every reason to make her a villain. That doesn't make it false. It means it deserves the same suspicion any historian gives an accusation with no witness who was in the room. Choose to believe it, and you've already decided who she was. Whatever actually happened, the accusation worked. Gaozong turned against his empress. Officials who had supported Wang quietly began switching sides, sensing which way the wind was moving. What is certain is what came next. Within 6 years, both Wang and Xiao are stripped of rank, imprisoned, and gone from the court that once fought over them. Legend holds that Xiao, dying, cursed Wu to be reborn a rat, while she herself returned as a cat to hunt her forever. True or not, Wu is said to have banned cats from the palace for the rest of her reign. In 655, Wu Zetian is named Empress of China. From a shaved head in a convent to the throne in 6 years. She was not finished rising. Here is what most tellings skip past to get to the scandal faster. Gaozong suffered chronic illness, headaches severe enough to leave him unable to rule for weeks. So Wu ruled instead. She read the petitions, she issued the edicts, and she was good at it, good enough that the court began calling them the Two Sages. She looked at the imperial examination system and saw what it actually was. A machine for keeping old aristocratic families in permanent power. So she widened it. Men who owed their positions to ability, not bloodline, began filling the court. Men who owed their positions specifically to her. That was not an accident. She also pushes through a change to mourning law itself, requiring children to mourn their mothers for the same length of time as their fathers, a small technical edit that quietly rewrites what a mother's life was worth on paper. She also promotes her own Wu clan relatives into positions of real power, a decision that earns quiet resentment even from officials who otherwise supported her. Meritocracy, it turns out, still had its exceptions. She also built something quieter, a network of informants watching the old families she'd sidelined, watching anyone who might move against her. Every ruler of her era did this. One of her enforcers, a prosecutor named Lai Junchen, built a reputation for extracting confessions through terror alone. His name still appears in records as a byword for cruelty. Few dared question it openly. In a court that ran on informants, silence was the safest posture available to anyone who valued their position or their life. Male emperors ran identical networks and are remembered as shrewd politicians for it. When Wu does the same thing, historians call it evidence of paranoia and cruelty. The purges of fallen rivals, once Wang and Xiao were gone, were brutal. But brutal purges of deposed rivals were standard practice in Tang court politics for anyone who ruled. We still don't know how much of her story is fact and how much is later editing. That uncertainty is the same one the blank stone at her tomb still refuses to answer. In 683, Gaozong dies. The throne passes to their son, Zhongzong. He is weak, easily led. Within 2 months, Wu deposes her own son from the throne. She replaces him with his younger brother, Ruizong, a figurehead in name only. Every decree still passes through her hand before it reaches anyone else's. By 690, Zetian is 65. She has run the largest empire on earth for 35 years through a sick husband, a dead husband, and 2 puppet sons. Under her direction, Tang forces bring Korea under control and manage the frontier with Tibet. The empire does not shrink under a woman's hand. It holds and it grows. Border commanders who once doubted a woman's authority over military matters found their appointments, promotions, and supply lines still running exactly the way they had under any emperor before her. Petitions arrive from across the empire, begging her to accept the mandate of heaven. Her own son kneels and asks her to take the throne. All of it staged, and it works. She has never once lost, so perhaps it shouldn't surprise anyone that in 690 she stops pretending. Monks conveniently produce texts predicting a female ruler chosen by heaven. Zetian is proclaimed Huangdi, emperor, not empress, a title no woman in 3,000 years had held, and none would hold again. She founds a new dynasty, Zhou. Here's the part almost nobody tells you, because the scheming is more interesting than the governing. Under her rule, farmers pay less tax. Output climbs across the empire. In an empire of 50 million people, a well-fed countryside is not a footnote. It is the difference between stability and collapse, and it holds for 15 years under her. She pours resources into Buddhist art. The Longmen grottos are expanded under her, the central figure said, by tradition, to bear her likeness. It still stands today. Her court draws some of the era's finest poets and administrators, men who would go on to shape Tang governance for a generation after her, whatever the histories later said about her. Every other empress of her era has a surviving likeness somewhere, in a scroll, a temple mural, a court record. Hers is the one frame later generations couldn't fill, no matter how hard they tried. In her old age, she keeps 2 young male favorites at court, the Zhang brothers. Hostile historians love this detail. Proof, they say, that age had made her foolish. Emperors before and after her kept hundreds of women, and it was never called madness. 2 men, and suddenly it becomes the defining scandal of her entire reign. The real problem wasn't the relationship. It was politics. The brothers began interfering in governance, making enemies of their own, building a faction the old court could not tolerate. A general named Zhang Jianji, no relation to her favorites, begins gathering allies among the ministers who had waited decades for their moment. He does not wait much longer. By 705, Zetian is 80 and gravely ill. The men who had waited 50 years for their moment finally move. A faction of ministers and generals stages a coup. The Zhang brothers are executed first. Then she is confronted directly and told, plainly, that her reign is over. It took a full military operation to say it to her face. She abdicates in favor of the same son she deposed 22 years earlier. Zhongzong becomes emperor again, as though the years between had simply been folded away. On her deathbed, she issues one final edict. "Strip my imperial title," she says. "Bury me as empress, not emperor. Reconcile with the families I once punished." It reads like a woman trying to write herself out of the worst of her own legacy. It didn't fully work. Her dynasty is erased from the official calendar. Scholars writing the official histories turn her into a cautionary tale. Proof, they claim, of what happens when a woman is allowed anywhere near power. Her tax reforms and exam reforms are quietly reassigned to the emperors on either side of her. Her military gains are credited elsewhere. The record edits her out, piece by piece. Which brings us back to the stone. Was it humility or a final calculation, distancing herself from a title already stripped from her before she could object? Or something sharper than either? A woman who had watched powerful men rewrite the record her entire life, deciding she would not hand them one more word to change. The tax reforms, the meritocracy, 50 years without losing a single power struggle, a cliff carved into a Buddha's face that still stands, whole, today. Even the mausoleum itself argues against the erasure. Stone generals and foreign envoys still line its approach, carved in her honor alongside her husband's, a monument too large and too public to quietly take back. The men who tried to erase her had 1,000 years and an entire bureaucracy behind them. They renumbered the calendar. They took her name off her own tombstone. Centuries later, Chinese historians began quietly reopening her case, weighing the meritocracy and the stability against the purges, refusing the easy label either way. The debate her enemies thought they'd closed never actually ended. And they still couldn't make any of it small enough to fit what she actually did.